What's going on, guys? Gilly writes comics here. It has been a while. I'm the creator of Galactic Rodents of Mayhem and also co-creator of the Call of the Void series, which I've been crowdfunding on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. I'm joined here with a very special guest. Darksyde is Comics Marinus. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, I'm good. Yeah, it's like I said, what's the time difference between us? I mean, it's almost 10 at the evening. And how late is it your place right now?
It's already like 4, going to be 5 p.m. in the afternoon. So
really,
a 5-hour difference there. So tell everybody, where exactly are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands, by the way, Holland. I'm Dutch. It's so sometimes weird. I mean, if you come from America, you are an American. But when I say I come from the Netherlands, and people say, "Oh, it's Holland," and there are Dutch people. So wait, Dutch, Holland, Netherlands? It's all the same. I speak Dutch. I don't speak Netherlands. Well, we call it Netherlands, but people from international, they speak Dutch. Yeah.
Nice. So here's the thing. Now, if you call someone American, you gotta be careful because I mean, that could be a whole thing too, right? That's a whole other topic, right?
Yeah.
But so Marinus, guys, we have like a cool little history. We're actually doing a comic project together. The second volume in Call of the Void, which is Blackheart Manor. That's actually funding right now on Indiegogo. You can check the link in the description. But so before we get into Blackheart Manor, Marinus, how did that come about, right? Just explain kind of from your perspective how we didn't even know it was Blackheart Manor, just how, I guess, a collaboration between me and you started.
Well, we have to go back to the past, like last year. So basically, I always wanted to create a comic, but I was struggling to do that because I have that in my mind, and then I put it aside because life gets in the way. I have a house, I have friends, I have a social life, and it never came to be. But I always, collected comics, and then somehow it stopped collecting comics, and then I just get back into it, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna create something from my top of my head, and I'm gonna sit hours and days and to create people a story, a universe, if you will. And I always wanted to do a horror comic because I grew up with horror. I watched when I was a little guy, and I have some small black and white TV in my bedroom. And I have a very small bedroom and just had some portable TV, and I watched at midnight, 1 hour before midnight, there was a show. It's a German show. It's called the Grusel Cabinet. It's all like the horror cabinet, by the way, and they always showed old black and white science fiction or horror movies, from Abbott and Costello, Dracula,
classic stuff. Abbott and Costello.
It came from Earth, those old 60s, 70s science fiction and horror movies, and I was so enthralled with it, and it always stuck with me that then I just started collecting those old Marvel, DC horror magazines. I don't have that anymore. A couple of them are still, like eerie and creepy. And there was those short, beautiful black and white stories about, it's a little more like a, how do you say, Twilight Zone-esque stories. Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt, kind of.
Yeah, Tales of the Crypt, and that always stuck with me. And I said, why not do something like that? So I went busy, and I think I got something here. And then I got your book, by the way, and I reached out to you and say, hey, listen, I got something. Would you look into it and tell me what you think? And then you said, hey, this is basically what you said to me, something like, oh yeah, show me what you got. And that's what you told me, and I just so I just give it to you with the backgrounds and the bios and all whatnot, and then. Surprisingly, you said, hey, this is exactly in the line of what we are doing with the Call of the Void series. And since I got your first volume of the book, I said, well, so what do you want to do? Would you put this in Call of the Void series? And you told me, yeah, let's do it with the artist GL on board. And then, yeah.
So here's the thing. You said you wanted to create like a comic that was like fits a thorough, like kind of like, you know, spotlighting a nice love letter to the throwback horror days. With you mentioned Warren Publishing, the creepy, eerie. So when you're saying that, and then you see something like this, you know, that we threw out, like, was that like, how's that? Was that like a coincidence or something? Like, you know, we're throwing out that black and white retro kind of horror, you know, like that's what Call of the Void is, right?
Exactly.
So you enjoyed the first volume.
Yes.
What went through your mind as far as Call of the Void, just in general? Because the fact that you're seeing something that we both were synergizing in without even realizing it, because you wanted to create a comic like that. And me and JL were like, well, you know, we got back together and we're like, hey, let's just kind of do this retro horror thing. And we did Call of the Void, where we have our nice Call of the Void logo here. And then got the Deep Dark. And we're like, okay, let's just start these Lovecraftian-inspired horror zines. And the fact that you caught on to that, like, how did you even come across the Deep Dark?
I was looking at that time. I was new to Indiegogo, and because I came from the mainstream comics, but the mainstream comics, I was so disappointed what they are putting out. You know, with all kinds of
indie baby. It's like the mainstream comics are just
exactly.
I mean, the Netherlands gets a lot of love, but mainstream comics, they're not even trying to appease to the international fans. They're just doing what they're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was looking for something different that I haven't, haven't been touched, haven't touched before, or had something in my hand for many, many years, because, those comics, they don't do that anymore. They just, pumping out, superhero stuff, and that's all cool. I love superhero stuff, but I wanted to see something different, because I was done with superheroes. I was, burned out maybe. And then I was, going through my old stuff and said, oh man, just these comics, from yesteryear. And then I look at the art, it's so beautiful. And then, with the black and white, and then I forgot how great black and white actually looked.
Oh yeah.
And, and then I stumbled up on your comic, and I was sold instantly. And I said, you know what, let's try it. I haven't done anything, haven't seen anything like that in many, many years. So I backed your book, and then that also inspired me to go further after I read the comic, because normally you do a horror comic, like like a monster in a swamp or something, but this is the Lovecraftian angle. And I love Lovecraft because there are so many, mystery and secrecy behind that, with cults, with monsters, that untold horrors. And then I decided, let's go that route and see what happens, and have a cast that is relatable, with family and with people that you love, and they are fearless. And I wanted to do, because it's about firefighters, that go into a house or a mansion, and I wanted to instead of a guy that is like a cop or a soldier, now that has been done a lot. Let's do something new and fresh and different. Why not pick firefighters, real life heroes that put their lives in danger to help people in need when it comes to fire building, and diving into a burning a house, saving people. Let's do something then with a horror twist, with a Lovecraftian twist, and then also with a cult and with a missing daughter. And and we did that. We did that exactly. We came about. We just going back and forth the whole time for many weeks, and then BLACKHART MANOR was created. Yeah.
So what Marinus is saying, right? After he read the Deep Dark, he had this idea for the comic that you had percolating, and you reached out to me because you thought me and JL could kind of team up with you and bring a vision that you had to life, right? In nice, awesome, tangible form, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest. I'm still a fresh guy. I'm still obscure writing talent, although I've been crowdfunding comics for a while. With Galactic Orders of Mayhem, that's my first comic to actually get a distributor, and it's going to be, actually kind of, I guess, mainstream, you can kind of say, although it's being published or distributed under Scout Comics. So they're burgeoning, up-and-coming indie comic publisher. So I'm kind of getting out there. So I don't often get a lot of requests for people to kind of like, hey, Gil, do you want to do a story together? Like, I'll get people randomly that they want me to look at their book, or they'll want me to check something out. I'm like, yeah, shoot it over, and I'll look at it, and I'll tell them honestly what I think. Hey, this is good, what have you. You wanted to like team up on a story. And I remembered you because you did back my book, and we had some positive interactions on Twitter and stuff. And I'm like, so when Marinus says, "Let me see what you got," it's because Marinus. I mean, like I said, okay, you want me to do your story? I'm like, okay, can we really make this happen? I'm like, okay, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, send me your idea. If it's something that it sounds good, maybe I'll entertain it. We could kind of like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Marinus. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't expect nothing to come out of it. I thought your idea would have been lame. I mean, I thought you'd had this. Right? I thought you would have had a lame idea that wouldn't kind of invigorate me to write, right? Because I'm a writer and I'm a creator, right? So if you want me to help write your story, I'm like, okay, well, let's see. Because as with filmmaking, as with comic writing, as with comic creating, you might have an idea when you put it to paper and you put to the actual the instrumentation to get it to be an actual story. That takes a lot of hard work and time. And as you can see through the process we've been through with BLACKHART Manor, I'm sure you can say that it's more thorough than you would have thought, right?
Absolutely. There was a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of changes, and a lot of, there needs to be a flow. I wasn't aware of that, how that all goes. And then I just, when you sent the notes to me, I said, oh, okay, it has to be go there, and then this guy stands there, and it has to say that kind of thing that to happen. So it needs to have some kind of structure in it, and then it suddenly clicked, and then I thought to myself, oh yeah, it's way harder because it has to be logical. You can't throw action scenes in it, and then some banter here, and then some love story there, and then some horror there. No, it also has to be in sync.
It has to be in sync. So when Marinus gave me his ideas, one thing this is what he said that I liked. Firefighters, I liked. 3 characters he had. He had a Hans. He had a Becca. I think Jacob was a name that you just 3 names you had, but you just said Hans, Becca, and Jacob. You kind of wanted this kind of trio. And I'm like, okay. And he said something with a cult and something with like a mansion kind of thing. And from there, I'm putting my sensibilities in there. JL's putting his sensibilities in there. Marinus is putting his sensibilities in there. And me as a writer, I got to take that and I got to find a way, like Marinus said, like to, you're getting all the ingredients, you got to make the dish, right? Another good way to put it is if you're looking at, architecture, right? If someone wants to build a house, let's say Marinus wants to build the BLACKHART Manor house. He's like, hey, Gilly, I want this house. I'm like, okay, well, what do you want? I want 16, rooms. I want it to be 2-story. I want it to have a nice garden. I'm like, you're telling me all this, but I gotta okay, hold on. I gotta make the blueprint. Me making the script is a blueprint. So I gotta draw out the blueprint. And then I got to give it to the workers. JL, he's the artist, right? So I got to give it to the carpenters. Is this possible, right? So there's a lot that goes in it. But I love that Marinus had this idea with the firefighters. I love that because, again, it tapped into what I wanted to do, something fresh. So as a writer, I'm like, okay, it's coming to me now. The creative juices are flowing. He had a cult in there, the cult of the Black Sunrise. And I'm like, oh, man, a cult. And I'm like, a manor. And then things were just coming to play. Things were just falling into place. BLACKHART Manor. When I was throwing out names, and my wife was with me, and I'm like, what do you think of this or that? And then somehow BLACKHART Manor was uttered, and I'm like, that sounds good. I'm like, does that sound good? I'm like, we're googling it. Has anything been done with BLACKHART Manor? Nothing. And what we came up with, Marinus. Right, and the BLACKHART has there's so much symbolism just in BLACKHART that it goes beyond what when we just threw it out. But with the evolution of the story, it plays a lot into the title and the theme and what we got going on. But so Marinus, after we liked your idea, and now that you're seeing the final script, and now that you're seeing some of the work that JL put together from what we had with the draft, right, with the rough sketches, from now we got the first half of the book inked completely, and you're seeing the evolution to that. Yeah. Tell me isn't that a beautiful thing?
Absolutely. I mean, you have the idea and it's all blank, it's all air. And then like you said, when you're building a house, then suddenly there's a frame around it, and then the frame is getting filled with with concrete, with woods or stone, and then, well, there's some color here. Okay, that looks way different than just concrete. So it all comes together. It's some kind of ingredients that you put on beautiful food, and then the beautiful food is basically, oh well, this is so beautiful. Do I want to eat it? Yes, of course, but it looks
Right.
great,
Yeah.
right?
The
And then when
presentation.
Gil threw the first pages out of the characters that I had in my mind, I said, wow, but it's so different. You're right. You have in your mind an idea, and then it basically comes to life. That is so amazing to see that it actually is going to be made, the idea that you have. And then also, the path that has been written out, where it goes, how they came to be, what is the monster, how does it end, what are the dangers they are facing. And then I saw, like I said, GL is doing the
No
work.
spoilers. No spoilers.
No. I'll be careful. Don't worry. And yeah, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
So I just want to say that Marinus had some amazing ideas. Okay, JL had some amazing ideas. I had to throw in my amazing ideas, and basically what you had is an amalgamation of our ideas that kind of took a life of its own. Because initially we had this idea with 3 firefighters. They were going to be doing a training, and somehow the training was going to activate something. They were going to push them into this mansion, and they're going to be, in this enchanted mansion. And guys, it isn't that. It became into something more deep, something more emotional, something with a missing daughter. We have a detective in there, Detective Stokes, that wasn't part of the deal, but somehow it's just. What a good story. It evolves and it becomes its own microcosm, and it takes its own directions, and the characters become living, breathing things where we have like I don't want to say it's a twist ending, but it's definitely an ending that I feel will evoke the emotions you got when you used to see those old horror movies from back in the day, right, Marinus? If I'm not right,
so, absolutely, yeah. It's you said it correctly. I mean, it's the icing on the cake, basically. When you go towards the end and you see the last couple of pages when you get the book, and then you say, "Whoa, what's going on? Jesus Christ! I hadn't thought of that would happen, and what's going on?" And I want to say something, but I have to swallow my words.
I know. We've even added pages too, right? Initially, we were trying to go for 40 pages. If you guys see the deep dark here, this is a 30-page book, right? It's 30 pages. So with with Marinus, and we were trying to work his story in. I was like, we could try to fit it in 40 pages. I was able to work up a script within 40 pages that worked, that we all liked. But as JL's drawing and as things are coming together, more ideas are percolating. He's running things by me. I'm liking them. I'm kind of morphing them, running them by Marinus. Marinus is liking it. I'm like, this new ending we got has to happen. And now we had to twist things, and the twisting things meant we had to add a few more pages. We just had to, for breathability, for cohesion. Because again, as you understanding structure, you can't just you can't just slap things on the wall. Like if you're gonna throw things on the wall, make it stick. You can't even do that. You just gotta put the extra time and space into the production, so we organically gets to that point where nothing felt as if it's thrown up against the wall to see if it's stuck. That it coalesced together. That it just oozes into its own form. And that's kind of like what is Blackheart Manor. That's kind of what we evolved. And guys who backed it, you're definitely going to be getting into an amazing story, because again, this is a story that I could say I'm proud to have written. The story, I want to say, it's one of the darkest stories that I've ever written. The darkest story I could say that I've ever written. I could confidently say that. And I would have never had the privilege to write this story if Marinus would have never entrusted me with his idea, with his baby. And basically say, I have this baby here. Do you want to adopt it with JL? I'm like, okay, we'll do it together. We'll raise it, and that baby became this beautiful thing. And that is Blackheart Manor. You guys are getting a story that would not happen any other way than by someone wanting to create their story and trusting two other guys that create awesome stories to unify. And Blackheart Manor is that. So guys, if you definitely check Blackheart Manor out, know that you are backing what's going to be a history. This is something really good. It has the makings within itself to be something like, if we talk about horror, like like a Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like Jason 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I think Blackheart Manor within itself is strong enough to have multiple volumes. So let's just see. Marinus, as we're still starting as far as me and JL. You're jumping in, and you're kind of seeing how this works. So we have an amazing product. Our thing is it's hard for us to get eyes on it, but hopefully, as long as we're doing this, the eyes will come and they'll see what Blackheart Manor is, and hopefully that could evolve into something that can make it into other forms of media, whether it be video, which I would love to see. I would love to see that. If we get there, I think I just had tears of joy coming down my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think if people just gonna read it, they think, wow, this is so cool. I haven't thought about it. It would be like this, and they maybe just rekindled the whole horror vibe as well. I mean, we have a lot of on crowdfunding. Of course, there are horror comics, but not the comics that we made. I mean, first of all, they are more like on the nose horror. I didn't want to bash them or something, but our horror is more, I don't know, visceral, more mysterious. It has Lovecraft.
Definitely cerebral too, right?
Cerebral as well. This is some mind fucking around. Can I say that?
Yeah, that's going around though. Yeah,
absolutely. And I remember that you said one time to me that I challenged you, and that you are, also, you got a fire under your belly or something. That, oh man, we're gonna need to do this. We need to change that. We're gonna add this one, and then it all comes together real good. And then when I read the script and think, wow, I have no clue and idea that it would be so great, this comic. And of course, I'm not only saying that because I'm involved, but I also saying that because I'm a comic fan. As I from
awesome. It's good that people see that and know that that's that part of you understands that and recognizes that.
Yeah, because if I now that I know the script, I said I definitely want to see what's going to happen. I definitely want to have this book in my hands and want to read it. And we have beautiful covers, by the way. And GL is a fantastic artist. I'm just very happy that he's on board. And he's knocks it out of the park. Really. Yeah.
He has a beautiful style. And I think with JL Giles, guys, if you didn't know, he does some work for Marvel. He done a lot of promotional work. Like if you see like Captain America and Thor in a Gillette ad, like a lot of times JL has did that art. He did the art for one of the Thor movies. Like there was like a prequel book or something like that. JL did the art for one of those books, and he also did I think it was Spider-Man Homecoming, the Blu-ray. It came with a comic. JL did that. So he's really rooted in the superhero style. But I think with Lovecraft or just horror, especially Lovecraft type horror, we're kind of like unchaining that artistic freedom. We're not keeping it contained to like a superhero. We're unleashing JL to just, whatever comes to his mind. Like, and that's, you guys are going to see that in Blackheart Manor, because we do have a nice splash page that's just ridiculous, and that ending is going to be crazy, and I just can't wait to see what JL brings to life from what we had in mind. But
he's very underrated.
So we got a great team up here, guys, and definitely please, if you haven't backed Blackheart Manor, definitely check it out. Consider backing and sharing. It's an amazing project. And Marinus is proud to be a part of it. I'm proud to be challenged by Marinus. He challenged me. Like I said, as a writer, you always want to enjoy what you write about. You don't want to just be going through the motions just to put out something. And I felt that I didn't want to do that with Marinus' story, and I'm glad I didn't have to, because the ideas he had and everything we put together worked. It was a challenge, and I wanted to make this the best that I could, and it was a challenge and I appreciate that. So. Yeah, guys, you're getting something very special. Definitely consider checking out Blackheart Manor. The link is in the description. Marinus, anything else you want to say?
Yes. To you, Gilbert, thank you for working with me. I really appreciate that. You have no idea what that does to me. I mean, I'm feeling very proud to do this with you, and of course, GL, who is not here. But I'm very lucky to meet you, and we hit it off right away. We have a good chemistry together, and I think people will really love what we put together. And it's basically a love letter to Lovecraft, to horror, to old school horror magazines, to comics in general, and to indie comics. This is, out of the box thinking. We have our own twist when it comes to horror and love, and I mean Lovecraftian. And I think people will really, really, really like this. Check it out on Go.
Yes, guys. Marinus, again, thank you for the opportunity. And guys, you're definitely going to get something special here. Just words can't express what we've put together here. It's an amazing love letter, as Marinus said. Definitely consider checking it out, because as Marinus said, he wanted to create his own comic. He was able to do that through me and JL and see what it became, right? And at the same time, there's a part of him as a fan that is excited to read something that we all created, but it's more because it's something that taps into what he always wanted to see and what you always wanted to read, and it satisfies that. So for Call the Void moving forward, we don't know what's going to happen with Blackheart Manor, but we know that Marinus is always going to have his, sensibilities, is always going to have his imprint in the next of our volumes going forward, because as you said, you have that as a fan, and you're the prime consultant here. Like we're all, the next stories moving forward with Call of the Void, we're gonna have your input on. So
absolutely,
it's a cool little this team up is gonna go for a long time.
You can always come to me, Gilbert. No problem.
All right, guys, there you have it. That's Darksyde Comics, Marinus, alongside Gilly writes comics here. Definitely, please consider backing Blackheart Manor. It's definitely something out of this world. It's something that needs to be experienced, because it is definitely an underdog story. A guy wanted to create a comic. He got to some dudes who crowdfund comics, and we're creating an awesome Lovecraftian horror. So thank you, guys. Check it out. Till next time. Peace.